Good morning, class. This is my friend Kenton. It's okay that we're closer than 6 feet because he's in my quarantine circle. I hope you have some friends in your quarantine circle. Kenton, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, or doing well. And I think quarantine circles are great, or squares, or triangles, or okay.
That's good because today I'm going to be showing Kenton how to make a mug. And you know what? We're going to be using circles. We might use triangles, and we're definitely going to use rectangles. So let's get started.
We can get our tools. We need to start. I think I'll give. This is my clay cutter. You guys need blocks. Alright, 1 or 2. And you don't want any air bubbles. Just don't really do much cover time. You know what that is? Okay. 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 Alright. We got tools. Got our tab roller. This is our tab roller. And should we hit the pause? That's good. Okay. Yeah, if you want to stop it. Okay. And then if you want to.
Time, so your speed. Okay,
So I'm going right now?
You're rolling.
Okay. All right. Glad you guys scooted in a little bit. All right, so you guys remember from my last lesson about making a slab. So we're going to do that right now. And we've got my makeshift slab roller here. Got my books. So we're going to make a couple slabs. I'm going to smash it down a little bit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a couple different kinds of mugs. I'm going to make you one with a more traditional handle, and then my buddy Kenton, I'm going to teach him. I'm going to show him how to make this slab handle. That's kind of fun, okay? And the cool thing when we're all done and said is when it's leather hard, you guys can come back through and carve on these, but we got to get them made first. All right, so we're going to roll out our slabs.
It's a little sticky with the glass.
So I got my slab here. I didn't go all the way out, but that's okay because we're going to use this a little bit later. The very first thing I want to make for my mug is I want to make the bottom. But I need something to trace. So I went in my cabinet and I found some coconut milk. And I'm going to put it right like that. And I lost my dart. That's a pretty good metal tool. So I'm going to use the steak knife.
Just be very careful with sharp tools.
So I'm going to trace around this because I want a perfect circle. And this is going to be the bottom of my mug. And remember, when working with sharp tools, you always have to think,
If it were to slip, where is it going?
all right, look at that. Okay, we don't need that anymore. So now I got my round piece of clay. This is going to be the bottom of my mug, all right? So now I'm going to put this off to the side. And I still have my clay I'm going to use. I'm actually going to knead this up again, re-slab it. All right, I rolled out another slab. Now this is going to be the walls of my mug. Now, this label from this Red Bull bottle, it's all over my slab, but you know what? I kind of like it, so I'm going to leave it. So now I need to get a nice, clean rectangle. So I'm glad my buddy Kenton mentioned all kinds of shapes. So we have a circle. And now, ideally, it would be great if you could just use a ruler and make a nice, long rectangle, but some of you might not have a ruler, so we're going to do this. We're going to have a little fun with this. We're going to get another book, and we're going to use that as our ruler. So I'm going to cut a clean edge on my slab here. I'm going to get rid of some of this funky stuff here. There we go. I'm actually going to keep this piece because that's a really good piece for my handle. All right. Now I'm not going to completely cut a rectangle yet. I cut a nice edge here and a nice edge here, and I'm going to show you something here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little tick mark, just a little tiny tick mark on my circle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right on the line like that. And then I'm gonna roll it all the way until I hit my tick mark again. But here's the thing, is we want our slab to overlap a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'll make a little tiny mark of where it actually ends, but now I'm actually gonna cut it right about there, a little bit past. So I'm gonna use my makeshift ruler again. There we go. So we got my slab cut. I left the top edge really rough, and I'll go ahead and cut that out now too, or I could even wait till I'm all done. But I think I'll go ahead and do that right now as well. There we go. I don't think I'll use this piece. So now we have our slab, which is the walls of our mug. But I'll go ahead and show you ahead of time a little bit. We're gonna wrap that around like this. But before we do that,
We gotta slip and score.
So let's do a little slip and score.
and when I do the scoring part, I just wanna do the bottom edge. And a fork is great. In fact, even professional ceramicists will use a fork. And remember, you gotta do both sides.
Now the slip.
And remember, I only need to do the slip on one side. All right, now I'm just basically gonna take my slab and bend it around my round shape here, like this, and it should overlap. Oh, but wait a minute, I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to score the inside of the slab right there and the outside of the slab. So I'll do that right now.
Get my slip.
And now I'm gonna squish it together. Here we go.
Smooth it out.
So now that I've overlapped my slabs, I'm just gonna smooth it out here a little bit. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't like the shape of my cup here. Well, what you can do is just by getting your fingers on the inside, and you can kind of just press it out there. And you can see I'm turning it over quite a few times. And I'm just giving it a little bit more shape, and I'm thinning out the clay just a little bit too. And if you start to see it crack there a little bit, you can get a squirt bottle or a little bit of water and go over it. But now the thickness of your mug is going to be determined by the thicknesses of the books that you use or whatever materials that you use. All right. So now it's looking a little more mug-like. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a handle on. And I kind of like this piece right here. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut a piece like this. But before I do that, I actually have this little nib right here left over from the mug, or when the slabs overlapped. So I think I'm actually gonna use that. So let's see what we can do with this. I'm gonna pull that off. So I've got a little piece of clay. You can cut a clean one, but I'm gonna play with this one. And I'm going to attach it. And I'm gonna make 2 spots for my handle.
There we go. Put a little slip here. Put a little slip here.
And then I always like to put a place for my thumb when I'm drinking coffee or tea or Red Bull. And there we go. Now it's a little rough right now, but I am going to wait until it is leather hard, and then I'm going to trim up the bottom, and I'm going to trim up any parts of the sides there. I'm going to get a little bit of slip on my handle here just to kind of smooth out that roughness. And maybe someday Kenton and I will be drinking out of our mugs. That would be awesome. But you have to be patient when working with clay. Now, I thought I would give the reins over to my friend Kenton, and I'm going to walk him through making a mug with a handle where the slab is the actual handle. All right, let's see how he does.
For the record, I've never worked with clay before, so if I can do it, you can do it.